So good morning, everyone. I would like to start by thanking Olama Day for her leadership and for bringing us together today to really show the world that we are here to end human trafficking. So I'd like to have a big call out for her, for the leadership of Times Square, and for all of you for being here today. So let's give everybody a round of applause. So, January is designated, as you know, as Human Trafficking Awareness Month, and today, January 11th, is a day designated to spreading awareness, which is what you are doing better than anyone I've ever seen. You are giving a voice to the voiceless by your presence here and by your commitment. You are all really awesome. Now is the time to bring awareness to this incredibly important issue, and with your help, we can prevent sex trafficking, human trafficking, with your help. Right now, what is Day One doing and what is happening in Rhode Island? Right now, we are seeing, I think today, as of today, we have 75 young people who have come through for services who have been victims of human trafficking in Rhode Island. 3 years ago, there really was not very much happening in terms of response to this issue. And this group got together, Day One brought together teams of law enforcement, local, state, federal, prosecution, the U.S. Attorney's Office, Homeland Security, lots of human service agencies, Hasbro Hospital, and we formed the statewide Human Trafficking Task Force. And so for 3 years, actually for 2 years, we worked on setting up a statewide protocol, and today we have this protocol. You should know this. We have a very good, effective protocol for responding to human trafficking in Rhode Island, and Day One is here to help you with that. If any of you, and I say this to faculty as well as anyone, if you ever need to know, what do you do when you know this is happening or you suspect this is happening to someone? So what we know is the commercial sexual exploitation of children in Rhode Island is a growing problem. We have a coordinated, streamlined approach. As I said, what happens if somebody is identified as a trafficking victim? They are referred to what we call the multidisciplinary team at Day One, and they go through a process where everybody gets involved. Everyone is there to help this young person. And I say young person, we have girls, boys, transgender, we have all kinds of young people who come through this process. It's affecting everyone. What are we seeing? What are some of the facts about this? And you know, I know that Olama Day touched on some of them. 70 to 90% of these young people have a history of child sexual abuse. So they've been abused at some other time in their lives for the most part. That's most people who get involved in trafficking. So it's not, you know, something has happened to them usually years before. That's important to know. Nationally, the average age of entry into sex trafficking, it's between 12 and 14. And in Rhode Island, what we're seeing is the average age is 15. 15. So it's kids you know, and it will continue to be. Their LGBT youth are at increased risk, and nearly 60% of the victims that we see come from foster care or group homes. So they've been in the system in some way. So let's just do a few myths versus facts, and you can shout out if you think, yeah, that's true or that's not true. So I'm going to say this. Trafficking only happens in big cities and high crime areas. False. False. Good. You guys are so enlightened. Yes, this happens everywhere. It happens in all our communities, and we say this again and again. It's happening in South County. Yeah, it's happening in Providence. It's happening in Barrington. It's happening in Newport. It's happening in East Greenwich, in Situate. It's really everywhere in Rhode Island, and that's important to know. It's more of an international problem than it is local. False. False. Absolutely. It is totally here. It's everywhere. This only happens to girls. False. Big false. Big false. Right. Most trafficking victims get into the life to support a drug habit. Big false. Big false. In fact, pimps tend to get some of these kids into drugs to keep them under control. A lot of these kids aren't doing drugs when they get into it. And finally, these children choose to do this. Pimps put them through an extensive grooming process, and we'll talk about that a little bit because that's where you come in. You can be amazing ambassadors to prevent this. You absolutely can. So what I want to do is just touch on some of the signs, because here's the deal. We're going to continue doing what we're doing at day one. We're going to respond, and you can refer anyone anytime that you know of or talk to your teachers. What we say is, and this is really important, and maybe you already know this, but if you suspect something, if you see something, and I'm going to go through some of the signs, you need to tell someone. We say tell two people. Tell two people. Tell a guidance counselor or a teacher or maybe a parent, but tell someone. And until someone does something about it, until you know they've responded to you, that's really important. So, what are you looking for? Do trafficking victims have shirts that say, trafficked? No. So, what are you looking for? You're looking for things like this. Here are some signs. Signs of physical abuse. You don't always see this, but if somebody shows up suddenly with bruises and they're kind of like, well, I don't know, I fell, or and you're not sure. Unexplained or new tattoos. I know tattoos are in, but if you start to see tattoos on a friend that seem really strange and look different and don't seem like their personality necessarily, that's a sign. That can be a sign. Not all tattoos are signs, but that can be a sign. New clothing, suddenly really expensive clothing that maybe they weren't wearing before. Running away a lot. If somebody runs away a lot, and as we said, 1 out of 3 kids who run away end up being trafficked. I mean, that's the reality. If they're accompanied by someone you think they seem intimidated by, like they've got this new guy they're walking with, or a new girl, or whatever, and they seem a little intimidated and not really themselves, keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on that. New friends, new boyfriends, people that just seem, a little out of the ordinary. So, also, increased sexualized behavior. If you see somebody's acting a certain way they haven't acted before. All of those signs, and it's not like you're going to be running around looking for this, but if you suspect something, if in your gut you're wondering, tell someone, talk to someone. You can play an amazing role in helping to prevent this. We deal with it on the other end, and we so want to prevent this for all of our kids. So finally, what I want to do is just tell you an example of what happens when one of these kids who's been trafficked comes through the program at day one and really gets some of the help that they need through the support of so many people, like law enforcement, like the hospital, like DCYF. We had this one girl, we'll call her Ciara. Ciara was 15. She had 3 traffickers, 3 guys who were trafficking her. She was in very deep. But over the course of time, she came through our system, she got some help, she's an amazing, resilient young woman. She ended up working with law enforcement and prosecution. All 3 of her traffickers are in jail. All 3 were prosecuted and they're in jail. She was so courageous and so amazing. Not only that, she is an honor roll student. She's in high school, regular high school for the first time in a long time. She's taking AP courses. She's got her eye on college, and she's doing amazingly well. That's someone who goes through the system that we have in place and comes out the other side and gets some help. And that's what we can work on. However, what you all can do, and what I want to leave you all with, is we can't do any of this without you. We need every one of you and I'm so excited that you're here, I can't tell you. We need every one of you to be involved. It really, truly does take an entire community to stop human trafficking, and you are that community. Thank you very much.